There she is. Hi, everyone. Suzanne Tulien here, and welcome to your Ignite My Personal Brand membership coaching call for Tuesday, January 8th already. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you got through the holidays okay. It's super nice outside, actually, right here in Colorado Springs. So I wanted to get started with first just telling you that this will only be like a 40 or 45-minute call because Zoom has just all of a sudden, I think with the last month or two, reduced their free service to only 40 minutes before you have to actually purchase the next level. And I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So, but I want to invite you to think about those questions that you have for me today so we can kind of laser through some of these questions that you might have. And if you have anything else come up for you in between these coaching calls, that's what the Facebook page is for. We're just now got up and running a few months ago, so everyone is new to this membership. I want it to be active and conversational and have all the members support each other, and I will chime in with my advice. So use this as you would your back pocket coach. That's what you're getting out of this. So my topic I just wanted to bring about today, I always like to touch on something to open up the conversation, and this topic is covered in my 6 Myths of Small Business Branding ebook, and that's the first resource you get. And Mary, yours is on the way, I guarantee it. And it talks about the 5th myth is my brand appeals to everyone. And so many entrepreneurs get so excited about what they're offering and think that they're offering, the best product ever, which is great. And I really love that passion that so many entrepreneurs have, that everyone should buy their product. It would help everyone. The bottom line is your brand is not universal. It never will be. It never can be. It's virtually impossible for you to please everyone and have that sort of broad market space. The most powerful brands in the universe are not universal, to tell you the truth. The Olympic brand, the Google brand, Starbucks brand, the McDonald's brand, Amazon brand, not everyone has an appeal for it. So once we decide and realize that your brand is not for everyone and that there is a really great target niche and market for your brand and figuring that out, that's where the golden nugget is. And I really want you to think about not only like all of these people that are this demographic, this age, this income, drive this car, etc., are your market. I really want you to also take a look at what we call psychographics. And the psychographics are those lifestyle value, like core values, right? It's more mental, it's more emotional. We've got to really get into the heart and mind of what our perfect client is. And one way to do that is to think of yourself, you're in competition with all these other brands that do similar to what you do, right? So what are your differentiators? What are those key things that you're delivering on that's different from all those other vendors that are doing the same thing, even though you say you're not doing the same thing, because deep down you think you're doing something different. They do too, right? You just want to make sure that your differentiators are truly different. Hi, Katie. Welcome to the group.
Sorry.
Truly different than those, and really begin to appeal to a psychographic or two, not just the demographic of your market, but that psychographic. And that's where your gold is. That's where you really want to start defining and start articulating how you show up. And that's what separates you and creates competitive advantage. So I'm going to leave you with that and thinking about that, noodle on it a little bit, compile some questions if you have them for this particular event, or post your questions about that particular topic. And read through it in the 6 Myths of Small Business Branding, that first piece that you got in the very first month you joined this membership, because there's some detail in there. So welcome, everyone. I've got a good group of people here today. That's awesome. I think I may have screwed everybody up today because I initially had my Zoom at 2 o'clock. Thank you, Mary, for letting me know that. That shouldn't have been that way. It's always going to be 3 o'clock. I was ready for 3 o'clock, but thanks for Mary to let me know that the meeting was set up incorrectly. So
You told me yesterday it was 3. And then
I did.
And I thought, okay, great. And because I had another meeting, which I just jumped off to come here. I mean, it was ending. And that was working perfectly. And then when I got onto your messenger, it said 2 Mountain, which is 1 my time because I'm on the Pacific Coast. I went, that's not good.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to give you a heart attack.
That's all right.
So I'm going to open it up. What's going on with all of you? Who's got your first question? Who wants to start a discussion around your brand and what's going on, and create some scenarios that I can help you navigate through?
Well, I'd love to ask some questions, but I'm not even sure where to start because I haven't really seen the material. All I have seen was that webinar that you did on the Genius channel back, I don't know, 16 months ago or something. And what really appealed to me was that this was not a typical branding conversation. And you're right, branding and marketing get all mixed up together.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, boy, this lady has some real clarity around this. And that's really what I want to do because my niche is the restaurant industry. And going out into the restaurant industry, there's a million people marketing to the restaurant industry. Of course, there's 2 million restaurants. So there's no danger there of any problem. But it is a question that I had for myself as I was thinking about it. Is okay, so what makes Mary Sloan stand out? What's going to make her special and different? And why should anybody listen to me as compared to the next 50 people that'll come knocking on your door and say, hey, we serve the restaurant industry, right? And so that had been kind of in my mind. And so your talk was very timely. And I went, yes, that's what I need to hear, so that I have a chance to figure out how to differentiate myself and how to come across very differently so that there's no mistaking me for someone else. I mean, I tend to be a pretty unmistakable person anyway, because I have a very strong personality and I'm really generally seen as a force of nature. But in any event, I don't want to sound like, and have all the same attributes. And of course, you hear the sales guys who talk about nothing other than themselves, which is the worst thing that anybody can do because they don't care about you.
Well, Mary, they do at the level of what are your credentials and what am I spending my money on? So, and at the trust level, how do I trust this woman, right? Who is she?
Right.
Where did she come from? And what is her background? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I want to know about you if I were a prospect, if I owned a restaurant, right? And I've got 5 vendors, 5 other marketing consultants knocking at my door telling me that I could do so much better with them, right?
Well, I think when, you have a chance to speak with me and I go through some of the questions that I have to qualify you, there'll be no doubt in your mind that, oh, this lady really knows her marketing, because it's a strength I have. I've been doing a lot of marketing for a lot of time. And yes, the restaurant industry is new to me, but marketing isn't new to me. And so the only reason I chose the restaurant.
You can use that angle to leverage yourself and say that you have a fresh perspective because you haven't been in the industry, right?
Right. And I have that broader perspective of a different twist that might work for the restaurant industry that other people haven't brought to it simply because they haven't been in other marketing niches.
So, Mary, have you, in the time that you saw the webinar, have you had a chance to purchase the Brand DNA book that I wrote?
I've got it heading my way.
Okay.
It hasn't been delivered yet, but I have it heading my way. So that I should have in hand by the weekend, probably.
Beautiful. So there's an activity in there as part of the DNA process to really do some deep dive work into your differentiators. And there are key dimensions within that activity that you're going to want to look at each of the dimensions that are in there and really postulate on what makes you different in this space. You're not going to have all of the different differentiators, but it's really going to start triggering some things where I always tell my clients, quantifying your differentiators is the most powerful thing you can do. So let's say you've been in marketing for, 27 years, maybe more, whatever. But let me know that. Say the 27 years, that's a qualifier, right? Say that if you've got awards in submitting certain marketing campaigns, if you've received those credentials, you want to talk about those awards. So really take a look at that activity when you get the book and flesh it out yourself. Do some deep dive brainstorming on your own, because those details, if you keep them conscious and top of mind, then that's going to open the ears of your audiences to understand, how is Mary different than Joe and Jeff and Trisha and Sally and all these people that knocked on my door last week asking for my business, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll do that. Yeah, so you're new, remember, so you've got a little bit of a battle there. These guys that have been in the industry and that are beating down doors saying that they've been doing marketing and advertising for restaurants for 100 years in their corporation, let's say, you would have to really create an angle around your freshness, but you're also coupled with the expertise of all the marketing experience you have in other industries.
All right.
So there's something to be said about using tactics that other industries have used and bring them into new industries who have never used those tactics before.
Right.
It could be a powerful thing, right? So if you begin talking about that and saying that they're missing out on those fresh tactics, this will all come to you as you're fleshing out
the work I've been doing tells me that the restaurant industry has a couple of big problems. Number one, none of them track anything. And so they have no clue who their clients are. It's like, oh God, I hope somebody shows up today. And they have no idea what to do about getting anybody in there. And what's interesting is that seems to be such a huge problem. And yet there's all these people offering to help them market. So what the heck are they doing?
If you find that that's a pain point, then that's where you have to really dive in and make processes and measuring a real simple thing to do.
Yeah.
I'll speak to that one for a minute.
Yeah, you have got something to say, Terry?
I do. Yeah, Mary, this is, I'm sure if you've been in marketing, as you say you have for a long time, you know that a lot of the people who have been representing these restaurants are different agencies. And what I'm finding out and what I've always seen is that the agencies kind of set it and forget it. They don't make it really personal. They don't get in there. They don't sit down and have this needs analysis with the client or whatever. They just say, well, this is what we do and this is what we can offer and this is how we're going to go for this. In fact, they even if the client has seen really good results with one medium, and this agency is not prone to use that medium, they don't use it. So right. I think you have even the fact that you're new to it and you have that fresh perspective, that's a huge selling point for you. You're not going to just be an agency that just puts it on.
Well, and the fact that I actually take time to ask people questions and listen to the answers, because most people just barge in there. Well, they have, like you say, they have their product that they want to sell. Exactly. They're not multidimensional. They're not capable of moving in 15 different directions. And, and I'm comfortable doing that. So.
Well, agencies have the ability to do pretty much anything. They can do print, they can do broadcast, they can do, social media. They can do a ton of different things, but they're just prone to kind of having this one formula fits all kind of thing. But Yeah, I mean, but agencies do have that ability to go in a different direction, but they just don't. So that's where I think
well, I guess the agency is sometimes a very impersonal entity.
It always
They've
is. That's
got
exactly.
salespeople out there,
Yeah.
and sometimes they get good salespeople, and most of the time they don't, and they get a sale and they move on, and they're probably not coming back.
That's a great pain point. These are, I've heard several pain points that you guys have identified with the industry that you really need to talk to at even a higher level, because once they start hearing that you understand where their pain points are, then you start building that level of trust, right? That's a really good point, Terry. Thanks for adding that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So in terms of brand, from the brand perspective, and we know that branding and marketing are two separate things, and in terms of your brand, Mary, really understanding that your brand is a perception that has a value position. So really thinking through what and articulating, writing it down through this. When you get the book, you'll have the entire methodology in that book. Start really writing down those differentiators and those things that create the value position for what you stand for. Let's say your skill set is numbers, and you're just really good at processes and setting up measuring systems. And you've got to really begin to tout that and separate yourself and create that competitive advantage in the minds of your market. And remember, not every restaurant gives a crap about that. You need to contact those restaurants that care and realize that they don't know what they're spending their money on, and they're pissed. And they want to know what they're spending their money on. So let's get Mary to come in and do this, right? So the more you speak about your philosophy and your brand's value position and what you bring to the table specifically, that's what begins to chip away at your competitive advantage and create that value position. Is that making sense?
Yeah, that's making sense.
Great. Awesome. Good. Well, I'm glad you brought that point up, and I can't wait till you start digging into that book, because, and then start, just filing off some questions in the Facebook page, and we'll address those.
Yeah, what's been kind of niggling in my mind, I have a site up already called ROI Marketer, and Restaurant ROI Marketer, so it's specific restaurant. It's a subdomain to show that I'm specialized, and a lot of good material there around customer lifetime value and return on investment, and some of the things that I think are very important and generally the restaurants haven't even considered because they've been too busy surviving, right? And I get that. But I have, from my perspective, I think a bigger interest in coming across as the giveaway millionaire, which is a title of a book that I was going to write a long time ago and never did. But what I find that there's a lot of, or I'm hearing from people, that there's a lot of hesitancy in the restaurant industry to give like meals away, or give this away, or give that away, because they're so afraid of losing that, and that they haven't kind of gotten to kind of the prime the pump core belief, core understanding that if you don't start the process and give generously, then your customers aren't going to feel like they should give generously, and it's not always about free meals. That's not the game. It's about a lot of value and how, in fact, you can add additional value to what your restaurant and your customers get, as opposed to other restaurants around and doing the same thing.
So Mary, are you talking about a philanthropic side to the restaurant business?
No, hardcore. Like I am sort of a numbers person. But if you don't start the process, like if you don't reach out and say, hey, come to my restaurant and try me. I've got a great offer for you, come on in. And you know, if you bring a guest or bring a couple of guests, in fact, we'll send a limo for you so you can have a really good time, whatever, right? You know, if you don't kind of have that kind of mentality going on, then you're not going to get the bigger clients. You're not going to get the big parties, unless, of course, you're a corporate restaurant.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that, because I use an example very similar to that in my Stop Marketing for Now, Start Branding workshop. And the slide says something. It shows, you know, Billy Bob's barbecue with a big pig on it, right? That has, you know, come and get this, get da, 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 all these things that they're advertising that they're offering. And then the actual prospect comes in with their family, and they have to wait 30 minutes for a table. All they see is, you know, the waiters running around with their heads cut off, basically. It's messy. They can literally see from the lobby there are 5 tables that haven't been cleaned up yet. They finally get to their seat. They don't get water for 10, 15 minutes. The waiter doesn't even know that there's a buy one, get one free coupon out there. So he has to check with his manager, right? So the problem with that is that many businesses don't even do the internal brand work to up-level the service in order for that free coupon to really do its job. You know, and bring people back and really serve that person who's trying out this restaurant for the first time. So that happens a lot. And I think, you know, there might be just a history of them trying that and it not working for them, but they don't know why.
Well, oftentimes the challenge for that is that they've gone to a company like Groupon or Living Social or something like that, and they put a time limit for their own benefit on the coupons that they want to give out. Mm-hmm. So what happens is that the restaurants get overwhelmed with all these deal seekers in a very short space of time, and oftentimes it is at the expense of their own customers. Whereas one of the things that I want to really work on is the birthday concept, where first of all, the birthday person is known to come with a party, or it's fairly easy to get them to come with a party. You know, very few people are going to go out on their own on their birthday. And secondly, there's not that many of them come at a single time, and you can prep yourself because you know when there's somebody there. And you know, as a matter of fact, you can reach out, you can offer them something special so that they make a commitment and will show up because they know you're doing something directly special. So there's the possibility of having much more one-on-one communication than those deal sites, you know, and it's not just deal seekers coming in. And
well, articulating that value position in all the different ways of offering that is really your value position. You know what I mean? Yeah. So being able to articulate that pretty quickly, maybe even in a visual, if you have an infographic or something like that, that could be articulated. But you also want to make sure that these restaurants are living up to the promise in their marketing messages.
Right.
Because if I get a free meal and the meal sucks, so to speak, and the service is terrible, and I can never get a hold of my waiter, then, you know, that's something that a discussion that has to be had with the client.
I mean, that's going to be, I'm not trying to deal with restaurants that don't have good reviews. So if they have a bad review, they won't be hearing from me.
Yeah, so be careful with that then, though. See where the alignment is or the disalignment in these restaurants that have great reviews don't necessarily need to offer free meals. You know what I mean?
They all need to grow. You know,
well, they can, and they can, yeah, but you really want to think through how you can, and I'm not debating you at all. I want to say, how can you leverage what you're trying to offer in a way that they hear it through their own pain points and what they think they need?
Well, I mean, obviously I need to question them and respond according to their answers, because there's no one size fits all pain point. I need to hear their words, what they see are their pain points, and deal with it from that perspective.
Yes, hence right back to the very first opening topic is no brand is universal, right? So if you go in there and really be an investigative consultant where you're deciding whether or not they're a fit for you,
right?
It's a great angle for you to really get those key top 5 to 10 questions that if all you answered yes, then you're in. You know, we should work together because this is who I deal with the best, right?
Right. No, and that's you know, the questions to qualify you to work with me will sort of throw them off because they haven't had that much, you know. But
right. Good. Yeah, we'll get those in a formal, you know, intake so that you're literally, you know, doing that and creating a process every single time you create that professional credential and that visual that I get to see as a prospect that, oh, she's taking notes. Oh, she's asking specific questions. You know, that's all about the gestalt of the brand, how you position and deliver what you offer. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Good discussion. That's awesome. What else is going on out there? Terry, what's going on with you?
I sent you a little, I don't know, do you have the group chat?
I need to open it.
Because I was sending a little note that said, thanks to you, I know my personal brand. I feel good about that. Solid. But I represent now and will be continuing to represent different companies that have a brand that's other than mine. Do you have a suggestion to be able to just really incorporate those other than the, you know, making sure that the clients that I pick up align with everything that I believe and stand for? Do you have ways or suggestions about putting forth their brand as well as mine? Obviously, mine's going to be there already because of the fact that I'll have them as a client, but
right,
when I'm working with them with, you know,
will you be co-branding at all your brand with their brand as you're marketing them?
In a manner of speaking, yes. When I'm out in the field, procuring clients for my clients, then yes, I will be, but not in a. I'm kind of talking to a couple of folks I'm working with about how do you want me to represent myself as being, you know, affiliated with you? So that's, you know, what kind of a leave behind can I have? What kind of information can I give out? That sort of thing. So. Yeah.
So you want to be really intentional about this.
Yep.
Right? And what you said in the very beginning is that you need to really explore their values and ensure that they're living and delivering on the promise because your name is attached to this.
Right, exactly.
Remember, you cannot go in and control what they do, right? You can't do that. So what I did a long time ago, we were looking to do some joint ventures with some other vendors way back when, before we even really got into a lot of corporate work. And we decided we were going to come up with a vendor agreement.
I have those, yes.
Great. But in that agreement, it was really brand related. Okay. So it was more than just the legalese. Yeah. It really talked about communication, expectations, what you may list some of your values. You list some of your style, which is your approach and how you go about doing what you do. So there's really an understanding of delivery, what the deliverables are, the expectations around that. You know, you're a super transparent person. I think that you lay things on the table and you have to talk about, like, this is how I do things, right? And get them to know you at that personal level if you're going to be representative of them.
Well, I feel like the people that I've talked to so far, they kind of know who I am. I've been in this city for 30 years, so I kind of know a lot of people. And the people that have come to me, they understand who I am and what I'm all about. You know, what my definitive
MO is, your DNA.
Yes, my DNA is.
Yeah.
Yes. So the hard part is, I mean, I'm a very trusting person. So, I mean, the people that I'm working with right now, I trust, you know, well, we'll go there later. But anyway, so I do trust the person that I've started with this thing. I just, you know, the thing is, you're talking about laying out the communication, the expectations, the styles, your attributes, your values. Sometimes those things, mine stay same, but with change in leadership or change in boards or change in workers, those values, they kind of move a little bit. They're not supposed to, but you and I both know they do. So
Yeah.
I'm just, you know,
Well, you want to be really, like I said, very cognizant, very intentional. And when you see changes like that in leadership, where you're going to be communicating with different people, you're going to want to revisit your agreement with them and just say, this is how we've been operating, and really just lay it down and
just
be
give feedback, and that communication piece is huge.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just be as honest and transparent as possible. I mean, that's the most, I think, professional thing that you can do. Know yourself well enough to lead your client well, right?
Right. I have no problem giving constructive criticism as long as it's viewed and, you know, taken as it's given. You know what I mean?
Right. You know, that should be something you talk to them about as well, and saying that I see a lot of things, I've got a lot of experience, and I need to be able to give you some constructive criticism. That's where I bring value.
Right. Exactly.
Just lay it on the line so you don't get caught up in any of these he said, she said thing, and, you know, the whole emotional.
Terry's being mean to us, but no, it's not mean. It's just, yeah.
Just really own your values, own your attributes, and present them up front. And that's how you're going to build really tight relationships.
Yeah,
I want to hear, we need to go have a coffee or something, because I want to hear more about what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm starting from ground up. I know nothing about owning my own business. The last time I did that, I was 18 years old, and I'm in my 50s now, so it ain't the same.
Yeah,
you know,
you're still with the radio station, though, right?
Hmm?
You're still with the radio?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still going to remain an employee with those guys, but I do have. But and we've discussed it. And they're fine with me having my own little thing.
Awesome.
And in fact, it kind of goes hand in hand. So I'd love to have coffee and just kind of laugh.
Are you going to be at the Women's Chamber lunch?
I am tomorrow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's next Tuesday.
Oh, I'm thinking eWomen. Sorry.
Oh, I'll be at eWomen too. Okay, maybe we can get our calendars together.
And yes, I'll be at the other one too.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, that was good. So yeah, just the more you can communicate your brand's value position, the stronger your relationships will be.
Yes, thank you.
And you cannot communicate it, you know this, until you are clear on what your brand is, right? So
right.
And you've been through the program, so you understand that. That's awesome. Good job. I can't wait to hear more.
Thank you.
What's going on, Katie?
Well, it's funny that we're talking about this today, because I'm getting back in get back on my track with, I do a lot of my video tutorials and things like that. And rereading, like I started the day out not in my good mode. Well, I started out good.
What?
I know, but I got stuck in some tax stuff, which I'm usually not very nice in January because I'm trying to get all my taxes done. So anyway, what was going to be 15 minutes ended up being 2 hours. And I had to do a video right before this that I was supposed to do hours ago. Anyway, big story. And my personality really came out in my video, in my, just having fun and adventure, and just like, it was funny. My daughter was helping me with the video, and she was my audience, my guinea pig. And we just started cracking up, laughing, and just the little things that happen. It's like, you know what? That's me, and I have to embrace it. And she was like, Mom, I don't think you should cut that out of it. I think you need to keep that. And I'm like, some of it I get really like, ugh. But then I'm like, you know what? You're so right, because that's me. I mean, whatever happens, happens. I know it's spontaneous. I know it's like fun and just, so that's what I have to remember. It's okay that things aren't perfect, because that's not who I am.
Exactly.
I'm about, let's have fun. Yes, I have a lot of experience to bring to the table. I know that. And that's because I've done those, the homework to know what makes me unique, what makes me special. And so I think about that when I'm doing it. And sometimes I have to just go, okay, that part's okay to keep in there. I need to let that true personality of me, and because I am my brand.
Yes.
And knowing that no matter what situation I'm in, yes, some I need to be a little more professional than others, but I still have to be true to me. And so anyway, it was just funny because that's what came up today is I got all stressed out when I had to do the stuff that's not my style.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you know, still has to be done. Being an entrepreneur, business owner, you have to do it all. But then just recognizing again, no, what makes me me, what makes it fun, what makes me enjoy what I'm doing is when I'm really me. And so anyway, I got a little of both today, and I do have another client coming over today for a makeover. So I'm like, I got to get back in my happy place of being me again. So
yes, and I'm sure you'll find that very quickly. That's awesome. Well, it's great to be aware and really recognize when you're out of alignment versus when you're in it.
right.
And you know, it's easier to stay in business and being an entrepreneur when you're in it more than you're out of it. Right?
Yeah.
So that's good. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. I can't wait to see the video.
I have some editing to do, but
all right. So any specific question before we close? We're down to, look, I don't know if it's going to just shut me down at 40 minutes or what, but we got like 3 minutes.
well, one of the things I just like that has helped is just being able to review, sometimes just being able to review, wait, what makes me different? For example, you mentioned I should put together a flyer talking about what I'm trying to accomplish that I can, do tomorrow. And so I'm starting to type it up, and it's very this. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to bring in my brand to that. So that's what I'm working on today.
Throw a couple of pics in there. Some of your great pics with your brushes and stuff.
Good idea. Yeah. For sure. Make it more me instead of the generic company pictures and things like that.
Make it look like when if I go to your website, what that would look like. Maybe make it look like your Facebook page, right? Consistency, visual consistency is also king because that connects the dots for your market to know subliminally that they're in the right spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good thinking across everything. Yeah. Everything.
Yeah. Good.
I'm getting better at it.
You are. You all are. I'm so excited. Well, we're at 3:39 my time. So I don't know if Zoom is going to cut me off or not, but I wanted to just close and say thank you all for joining this call. And again, remember, if you've got questions between now and then, that's what this Facebook format is for. I check in daily and try to answer any questions that are out there. And so you can get moving along. So don't just wait for these events, but we might extrapolate a little bit more if it's a really good topic. And I think everybody needs to know, we'll actually bring it on to the call and talk about it. So I hope you got a lot out of this. Thank you guys for joining me. And
what's a call compared to this?
What's what?
Is this a call, or you said you'd bring it on to a
coaching call? This is the live coaching call. The Facebook group is where you can post your questions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then this is a live coaching call.
This is the live coaching call, yes. And there's two a month.
Okay. All right.
So bring your questions, bring your scenarios, type in your things, utilize this program as much as you need to get yourself beyond or out of being stuck. Okay? That's what it's here for. Beautiful.
My screen says we have less than a minute. So.
Oh no! It's gonna explode! Everybody say hi! Happy New Year!
Bye.
Yes.
In the video section of the site. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Bye. Nice meeting everybody.
I'm anxious to see what it does. I'm just waiting.